Hi, I'm Dee Ann Schippert. I'm the Community and School Health Coordinator for the Fort Iroquois Public Health Department. And I'm here today with Ashlen Portwood, a senior at Milford High School. Earlier this summer, I received a letter from Ashlen in the mail because Ashlen was doing some fundraising for the American Diabetes Association. Because November is National Diabetes Month, I thought it would be a good idea to invite Ashlen to come in and talk a little bit about what it's like to have diabetes and to live with it on a daily basis. So welcome.
Thank you very much.
We're glad to have you here. So I thought maybe we'd start off by letting you read your letter that you wrote because it talks a little bit about her history with diabetes.
It is hard to believe that I have had type 1 diabetes for almost 13 years. I have been using my insulin pump for 11 and a half years now. This summer was the first summer I did not attend Camp Granada Diabetic Camp as a camper since I was 8 years old. I had hoped to be a junior counselor at camp this summer, but the date of camp changed this year, and our family had already scheduled a vacation to Longboat Key, Florida, to hang out on the beach for a week. I now realize after having my endocrinology appointment in August that I really wished I had made it to camp. My hemoglobin A1C isn't the best right now, and camp always gets me motivated and renewed to commit to taking better care of myself. I have been trying much harder since my appointment to keep my sugar down, but it is still really hard at times. This summer was crazier than ever. I am now a senior at Milford High School. I continue to be very involved in athletics and extracurricular activities, as well as work very hard in my academic classes. I am still not completely sure of what I want to major in, but I am still most interested in getting my bachelor's degree in nursing and possibly going on to be a nurse practitioner. Having diabetes has always made me determined to never let having this disease slow me down or get in the way of giving 110% to everything I do. This is not to say that I don't struggle sometimes. Often I have to spend extra time to compensate for being low or high while at school or during athletics. It would be great to live a life free of diabetes.
When I received that letter in the mail, I thought, how wonderful, because Ashlen is a great example of the average normal American teenager who's living with diabetes and doing everything she wants to do and not letting it hold her back in any way, shape, or form. And I think that's terrific.
Thank you.
Would you like to share a little bit about how old you were when you were diagnosed with diabetes and what it was like for you?
I was 5 years old when I was diagnosed with diabetes on New Year's Eve, actually. I had been very sick during Christmas, and I'd lost a lot of weight. I was going to the bathroom, and just normal symptoms of what a diabetic child would get. And so we went to the doctor, and diabetes was what popped up. I remember sitting in the doctor's office in my mom's lap, and she was crying. And I'm like, Mom, it's okay, I'll be fine. This is, just something little. But at 5 years old, I did not fully understand what diabetes meant. So here I am now, and I'm a strong, productive 18-year-old almost, and looking forward to living with diabetes until there's a cure.
I'm sure that it was emotionally rough for your parents when you were diagnosed. Do you think it was harder on your parents than it was on you?
Yes, definitely. Being 5 years old, I could not take shots myself or count my carbohydrates for meals, and it was all new to them. But they did everything for me when I was first diagnosed because I was just too young to understand. And my grandma was a great help, I know, to my parents. And I went and stayed at her house a lot when I was first diagnosed because she knew what to do.
Yeah, how blessed you were to have her.
Yes, yes.
That's wonderful. So how old were you when you stopped taking only the injections and went to the insulin pump?
I got my insulin pump the last day after kindergarten, and I remember my doctor being very apprehensive about it because the pump was normally for someone a little bit older, a little bit more responsible. But my parents felt that with all the activities, even in kindergarten and all the things I was involved with, that was the best choice for me. I love my pump, and I would never go back to shots.
That's great. Even though you're very conscientious about your diabetes and take good care of yourself, do you ever have complications from the diabetes?
Yes. I've had to stay home from school a few days because I'll come home from a basketball game, my blood sugar will be high, and then I'll wake up with ketones in the morning. So that is something where it just makes me feel miserable and I can't be at school and focus. So that is a downside sometimes. With sports, it's hard to regulate. Being unhooked from my pump for a couple hours, and then just all that physical activity does affect my blood sugar.
But it's worth it playing those sports,
yes,
isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
I don't know what I'd do without my athletics. So.
That's good. I've heard you're a pretty good athlete, so that's really great. I heard that you received the DAR award for your school, so
yes.
It hasn't stood in the way of your academic life either, has it?
Nope, I have a 4.1 GPA out of 4.
Wonderful. Can't ask for better than that, can you, Mom and Dad? As a school nurse for many years, one of the things that I found was that kids and teenagers tend to want to hide their diabetes rather than be open about it. Have you ever felt like that?
I was diagnosed with diabetes at such a young age that, all my friends were really good about it, and they knew, this is something Ashlen has, and so I grew up with the same friends and the same kind of deal, so I never had to acclimate myself to a new environment, such as like kids who get it in junior high or get it in high school, and it's like all new, and like that's your rebellious stage, and so it's kind of like, oh, I don't really want to tell people, or I don't really know how to tell people. So I would just say surround yourself with people that are going to be supportive, and don't be afraid to tell people. I am going over to the grade school, and there's a young girl there who has diabetes, and she's recently diagnosed, and she's wanting to get an insulin pump. So it's been really good for me to be able to talk to her and see how, at her age, how she deals with, telling her friends and being able to add that into her schedule.
Oh, that's so wonderful. That little girl is so lucky to have you, really.
Well, thank you.
And I appreciate you coming today and sharing some of your life with our audience. November is, again, National Diabetes Month, and we want to spread the word that diabetes is something that we can prevent in some people. For other people, it's going to be something that they have to deal with throughout their life. Mm-hmm. But their lives can be completely productive and normal, and they can do anything anybody else can, and you're a shining example of that. So
well, thank
you for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you.